Vatican's Secret Files, 1,200 Years of Silence. Hidden deep within the fortified walls of Vatican City lies one of the most mysterious and least accessible archives in the world, the Vatican Apostolic Archive, formerly known as the Vatican Secret Archive. This vast collection contains over 12 centuries of documents, letters, manuscripts, and papal records, all stored in silence and secrecy. It is a library of the Catholic Church's deepest history, a vault of forgotten decisions, suppressed truths, and powerful writings that have shaped global religion, science, and politics. Although the archive officially began in 1612 under the orders of Pope Paul V, many of its documents date back as far as the 8th century. The archive was created not as a place for secrecy in the modern sense, but as a private record-keeping institution for the Pope and his inner circle. The term secret was derived from the Latin word secretum, meaning private or personal. Still, the inaccessibility of the archive and the mystery of its contents led to rumors, legends, and conspiracy theories that persist to this day. The archive spans over 50 miles of shelving and contains more than 35,000 volumes of material. Most of it remains off-limits to the general public. Only a few accredited scholars are allowed entry each year, and even they must undergo a strict vetting process and declare exactly which documents they seek to study. Even then, access is limited to a handful of items per day, with no phones, cameras, or photocopying permitted. The process ensures both the security and the preservation of the delicate materials, some of which are over 1,000 years old. One of the most significant documents stored in the archive is the Shannon parchment, rediscovered in 2001. It revealed a surprising truth about the fate of the Knights Templar. For centuries, the Catholic Church was believed to have condemned the Templars as heretics in the early 1300s. But the parchment, written in 1308, showed that Pope Clement V had secretly absolved the Templars of heresy. This finding changed the historical narrative entirely. The downfall of the Templars, long thought to be a result of church justice, was in fact driven more by political interests, especially those of King Philip IV of France, who owed large debts to the order and sought to destroy them for financial gain. Another remarkable piece within the archive is the original trial of Galileo Galilei, the renowned astronomer whose support for heliocentrism clashed with church doctrine. In 1633, Galileo was put on trial by the Roman Inquisition for asserting that the Earth orbits the Sun. His trial ended with a forced recantation and lifelong house arrest. The archive preserves the full records of the trial, revealing the Church's struggle to maintain control over scientific thought during the age of discovery. While Galileo's condemnation is widely known, the nuances of his trial, including the pressures and politics within the Vatican, were long buried in silence. The Vatican Apostolic Archive is also home to thousands of letters between popes and monarchs, emperors, philosophers, and political leaders across Europe and beyond. One particularly poignant letter is a handwritten letter from Mary, Queen of Scots, penned in 1586 during her imprisonment by Queen Elizabeth I of England. Awaiting execution, Mary pleaded for help from Pope Sixtus V, affirming her loyalty to the Catholic faith. The letter was preserved in the archive, never delivered or acted upon in time, yet it remains as a personal and political cry frozen in history. Even seemingly routine documents carry enormous historical weight. Papal bulls and official edicts stored in the archive reveal the Church's involvement in the Crusades, the drawing of colonial borders, and the granting of power to monarchies. These records shaped the lives of millions across continents. Some documents reflect papal influence over entire kingdoms, alliances formed, wars justified, or marriages annulled, all under the authority of the Holy See. These decisions changed dynasties and created ripple effects that continue today. The archive also holds important records from the era of the Inquisition. These include thousands of pages detailing investigations, confessions, and punishments administered to those accused of heresy, witchcraft, or theological dissent. While much of the Inquisition's brutality is already known, the records show the administrative and legal machinery behind it, revealing how systematically belief and control were intertwined. These documents offer valuable insights into one of the most repressive chapters of Christian history, shedding light on how the Church navigated fear, authority, and power. A more recent and controversial part of the archive concerns World War II. Many historians have long sought to examine documents from the pontificate of Pope Pius XII, who served during the war and was accused by some of remaining silent on the Holocaust. For decades, the Vatican refused to open the wartime archives, fueling accusations of cover-ups and complicity. In 2020, Pope Francis ordered the release of the documents from Pius XII's papacy, allowing researchers to begin the long-awaited investigation into the Church's actions during the Nazi era. Early findings reveal a complex and cautious papacy, walking a fine line between diplomacy, neutrality, and fear of communist expansion. Despite the growing calls for transparency, the Vatican remains selective about access. Only a small portion of the entire collection has been digitized or made public. The process of conservation is slow and methodical, handled by a team of archivists, scholars, and restoration experts. Many of the documents are written on fragile parchment, with inks that degrade under light or moisture. Conservation requires constant monitoring and sometimes involves intricate repair techniques to preserve fading or damaged texts. Over time, the mystique of the Vatican archive has inspired speculation far beyond historical truth. Popular culture often imagines the archive holding forbidden gospels, lost prophecies, or even ancient technologies hidden from the world. Some believe it contains the missing books of the Bible or secret documents about extraterrestrial life. While there is no evidence for such claims, the secrecy and scale of the archive continue to feed imaginations around the world. Yet the real contents of the archive are no less impressive. From a document rejecting Martin Luther's reforms during the Protestant Reformation to letters concerning the partition of Africa during European colonization, the Vatican's files contain raw, unfiltered history. These records show how the Catholic Church influenced the rise and fall of governments, shaped economic policies, controlled education, and helped define Western civilization's moral frameworks. The archive is a reminder of the Church's unmatched longevity and global reach. Unlike most governments or institutions that collapse or lose records over time, the Vatican has preserved its memory across centuries, through plagues, invasions, revolutions, and wars. It is a living record of how theology, politics, philosophy, and human emotion intersect. As the world becomes increasingly digital and transparent, the Vatican's archive remains a symbol of resistance to the modern rush for instant access. It reminds us that some knowledge is guarded, protected, and slowly revealed only when history is ready to receive it. The Vatican is not only the spiritual heart of Catholicism, but a guardian of historical memory, a keeper of both divine truths and earthly secrets. What lies hidden in its deepest vaults may never be known, but what has already emerged proves that the archive is more than just a collection of paper. It is a silent witness to humanity's grand story. And as each page is slowly brought into light, it offers not only answers to our past, but questions for our future.